Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Alice. Hey, Bonnie. Arlene, welcome, everyone. Welcome. I hope everyone's morning is going great. I know we just had an amazing lineup already. Depending what time zone you're in, probably pretty early or not, but we're just so excited that we started our day off with our amazing presenters in the morning. And here we are at our awards ceremony. I want to welcome everyone to WFAN's 2021 annual conference and ask folks, if you're not muted, if you could just please mute yourself. And just to know that this is a recorded session. So welcome. Welcome to our 2021 Recognition Award ceremony. So earlier this year, we asked our large community, we have over 7,000 members in our membership mailing list, to let us know who should we celebrate for their exceptional efforts and for how they've promoted WFAN's mission, which is to engage women in building an ecological and just food and agriculture system through individual and community power in their own work. And we received such an impressive list of stellar candidates. And we couldn't be happier to announce that our 2021 Recognition Award goes to not one, but two extraordinary community builders that really embody this year's conference theme, Landscapes of Resilience, Embracing the Power of Community. And those two folks are Amaya Carrasco and Hannah Breckbill. Hannah Breckbill is a first-generation farmer. She raises organic vegetables, grass-fed lamb, and pastured pork alongside her co-farmers at Humble Hands Harvest in Decorah, Iowa. Her work to build that farm from scratch has been a process of building community, practicing the art of asking transparently for what she needs, and receiving gifts she didn't know she needed. She is also the founder and host of an annual Queer Farmer Convergence, which brings together queer farmers from across the country for a weekend of camping, eating good food, and queering agriculture together. Amaya Carrasco was born and raised in Ecuador. She has been actively involved in community service since a teenager and eager to participate in co-creating a fairer society. Amaya has over a decade of experience with grassroots organizations, NGOs, and as a researcher in the fields of food justice, agroecology, sustainability, climate change, well-being, and ecofeminism. Amaya in St. Louis worked for 4 years, supported an NGO-focused hands-on education in public school gardens. She also participated in an apprenticeship program at Earth Dance Organic Farm in Ferguson, as well as collaborated with Farm to Food Deserts program that produces food and rooftops with Urban Harvest STL. Amaya co-developed a course in Spanish about urban agriculture to support Latinx immigrants during the food shortages produced by COVID-19 pandemic, which enrolled 240 participants. For her work, she received the Outstanding Research and Scholarship Graduate Student Award of 2021 at the University of Vermont. Currently, Amaya has roles in academia and as a practitioner. First, she is a PhD student in food systems and a research assistant of a project that seeks to strengthen agroecological knowledge and capacities in Africa and South America. Second, Amaya is the director of the Caliata Initiative, which aims to reimagine the rural sector in Andes and its relationship with cities by moving from a resources extraction paradigm to a harmonic relationship of reciprocity with Mother Nature, Pachamama.
Did you get my voicemail?
I am so pleased to
it's shitty. It's really shitty.
And we ask folks if you can just
so
mute
I'm flying
yourselves,
down on
please.
Saturday, and I just booked the one-way ticket because I don't really know the situation is and how long she'll be in a rehab center.
Yeah.
And she's got friends down there, but we don't have any other family down there. And I might be able to tag team with my.
And as I share the bios of our award winners, I'm super stoked to hand off the mic to Amaya and then to Hannah, and let them share truly anything from their heart right now in acceptance of this award. And thank you both, Amaya and Hannah, for the work that you do.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Amy, for reading my bio and presenting me today. For me, it's a great honor to be here today and receive the Extraordinary Community Builder Recognition Award in Farm and Food Justice. I deeply value the mission of Women, Food and Agriculture Network that aims to engage women in building an ecological and just food and agricultural system through individual and community power. An organization built by women and that cares about women opportunities. As humanity, we are facing many challenges, like climate change and the current pandemic. But one of the biggest challenges that not many people mention is the hyper-individualization. To face apathy for the other and individualism, we need exactly what the Women, Food and Agriculture Network does: promote community and cooperative relations. In that context, I want to share a quote that touched my heart. If you teach a man to farm, his family will eat. If you teach a woman to farm, the community will eat. This really resonates with me because during my years working in agriculture, I have witnessed this statement in flesh and bones. During my lifetime living in St. Louis, Missouri, I saw the power of women and food to build community. For 4 years, I worked with the NGO focusing hands-on education in public school gardens. Through my involvement, I observed the power of food as a key instrument to change food habits, especially in African American and Latinx children. This initiative was created by the group of women that decided to build community through the development of urban gardens in the neighborhood. I also had the opportunity to reconnect with the cycles of life and nature through my participation in an apprenticeship program in an organic farm in Ferguson. The organization was created by a woman with the mission of teaching about farming and how to produce healthy food for the community. Finally, I was part of the NGO that produced food in rooftops and donates all the produce to people in need. The leader of the organization was another woman that also was my professor and now is my coach. As you have noticed, there is a pattern. All the organizations were created by women. In the Global South, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, between 60 to 80% of the food that is consumed is grown by women farmers. Imagine 60 to 80%. This is something that I have personally seen while interviewing a group of urban farmers in Ecuador. In the city of Quito, my hometown, there are around 1,400 gardens and 80% of them are led by women with indigenous heritage. They drive an economy of diversity-oriented practices in the face of homogeneity, cooperation in the face of competition, collective access rather than private property, and preference to barter instead of commodification. However, their work producing food is often seen as a set of domestic activities, an invisible sphere, not productive because it's not associated to an income. In the global scale, inequalities are striking. Even though women are the majority of the world's farmers, men are the ones who own resources such as land, water, and work tools. Despite challenges and inequalities, as Ruth Bader said, fight for things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. For that reason, I want to congratulate the work of Women, Food and Agriculture Network and say that I feel grateful to be a member of it. Individually, we are a drop. Together, we are an ocean. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Amaya. That was lovely to hear. And I also want to thank WFAN for recognizing us, and yeah, and lifting up our work a little bit. I do a lot of things, and sometimes people ask me, like, how do you do so much? And my snarky answer to that is, well, I don't have kids, so I have plenty of energy to spend on that a lot of people don't have. And so I just want to recognize that, like, I do a lot of things, and a lot of that is because there's not something closer to put that energy toward. So I get to build community. But another reason that I do so much stuff is that I believe that it is possible. I believe that these changes that we envision in our world are possible and should be possible. That we don't have to kind of agree to the dominant paradigm. And so all it takes is for us to make them happen, to start doing the things that we believe should be possible. So one of the things that I have done in the community building realm is the queer farmer convergence. And what I notice about that is I just started this gathering because I needed it. I needed queer farmers in my life, and I needed that community around me. And so when I craft that gathering, I think about what I need. And one thing that I need is a sense of belonging, and to kind of feel less lonely, and to feel comfortable, feel like I belong. And the way that I do that is to, like, ensure that people connect with each other and ensure that everyone knows that they are needed in the space. Because that's what I need to hear. I need to hear that I'm needed in this space, whatever space I'm in. So yeah, I just feel like each of us carry, like, our needs and our values, and we can act on them. We can craft the world that we need, simply by believing that we can do it. I feel like, well, the kind of last thing that I want to say is that sometimes in my process of community building and building my farm, I have asked for a lot of things, because that's born out of my belief that it should be possible for a young person to start a farm, even if they don't come from wealth. And so I've asked my community, and my community has really responded and been able to help build this farm with me. And I think that, that's just a really important way to build community, is to ask for help. And I'm grateful to be part of spaces where that ask is able to be received and understood. So thank you to all of you, to WFAN, for being one of those spaces. But mostly what I want to say is, I think I'm just really grateful when anyone is acting on their best hopes and values, because that's what creates the world that we need and deserve. Well, thank you.
Okay, so it seems like Amy is having some technical difficulties, so I'm just going to jump in and first want to acknowledge how inspired I am by both Hannah and Amaya. I had the opportunity to spend some time with Hannah in Decorah a couple of weeks ago, and just it felt like I was walking around with a rock star. Everywhere we went, everybody knew her. Everybody knew what her work was, how she did it. It was actually Pride Week or Pride Weekend in Decorah. And to drive along the main street and see these Pride flags, it was so moving. And it was just to know that I was with the woman who really started that in Decorah, and to see it become normative and just so embraced by the community. It was inspiring. And then the farm itself, to listen and hear and see Hannah's vision for community farming and for the commons, and then just dove me into a deep dive into what commons, what that would look like. And I'm totally inspired and want to continue that work alongside her. It's just so amazing. And Amaya, to hear your stories and to learn about you and your work, like, eres una inspiración, sinceramente. I thank you for todo lo que haces. And I just am so happy to have you both here and to honor you, because it's amazing what your work is. So thank you. I actually, when I was asked to give this talk, I was waiting to prepare this welcome, because in my experience, I've learned that I usually write the best words, the necessary words, when I don't write at all. And when I experience what my spiritual sisters call a download. So I look and I listen for the signs, the muses, I go to the universe, and she unfailingly provides. So I wasn't surprised when these words from Clarissa Pincola Estes were shared with me just yesterday. And I've loved her writing for well over 30 years when I was gifted Women Who Run with the Wolves tome. But now 30 years later, her words resonate with my experience as a WFAN conference attendee and staff member. And she writes, "We do not become healers. We came as healers. We are. And some of us are still catching up to what we are. We did not become storytellers. We came as carriers of the stories we and our ancestors actually lived. We are. Some of us are still catching up to what we are. We don't become artists. We came as artists. We are. Some of us are still catching up to what we are. We do not become writers, dancers, musicians, helpers, peacemakers. We came as such. We are. Some of us are still catching up to what we are. And we did not learn to love in this sense. We came as love. We are love. And some of us are still catching up to who we truly are. So it's my sincere hope and earnest desire that this conference helps all of us catch up to who we truly are, and then joyfully express that in reality in what we do every day. For we are earth tenders, we are stewards, we are farmers, chefs, advocates, eaters, caretakers, supporters, teachers, students. And to use an expression from New Mexico, which I saw Melanie Kirby's on this call, she'll know, we are all good in ways in which words sometimes fail us. We just have to remember. I'm so humbled, excited, and proud to be here with this amazing group of women and non-binary folks, our allies and co-conspirators. In every room, in every workshop and panel that I have been in, I've been totally inspired, just as I am by Hannah and Amaya, not just by those presenting or in the documentaries, although certainly by them as well, but by everyone in attendance. The power in and among the over 200 people of us that are attending these 4 days, I know without question can change our world. So I wanted to give a brief review of 2021 to date. As Amaya said, we are still healing. We are still living in stress, continued stress, and recognize the grief that we're experiencing, not just for our planet and for our losses through the pandemic, but also, yes, for that hyper individualism that Maya mentioned. It's still a continued stress, and that we have to overcome it. I wanted to speak briefly to our program accomplishments. WFAN and still continued with our Harvesting Our Potential program. As mentioned earlier, Hannah is one of our mentors and has had mentees. We've had mentors and mentees in multiple states this year, so that was great to expand beyond Iowa, but also still have a solid presence in Iowa. Our Women Caring for Our Land Stewardship Ambassadors Program. We had a new cohort and expanded learning circles that reached hundreds and thousands of people through the process of going and growing. Our storytelling program this year developed an amazing storytelling toolkit, and it's online now with the support of North Central SARE. And so I can't thank our funders enough for being able to provide us the resources to continue our programming, expand our programming. And one of our expanded programs this year is also growing community resilience. So the resilience theme keeps on, which led to some wonderful, sometimes uncomfortable conversations. And it's a program that we want to continue and grow over the next 3 to 5 years. And our Plates of Politics work focused, we kind of went inside and worked mostly on local advocacy work, including looking at issues such as paid time off. What does that look like in the food space and ag space? Discussions with representatives on platform building and encouraging regenerative agriculture within their platforms, and also addressing issues such as stopping line 3 and line 5. Organizationally, we've accomplished a great deal. I'm so thrilled that there's been a continued increased commitment to center BIPOC voices and leadership as we move forward, and also do that internal work of racial reckoning. We staff and board attended the Understanding White Organizational Culture workshop series. We are currently involved in a part of an anti-racism cohort that is so exciting and includes such deep work that I'm really looking forward to building on. We signed on to the Southern Poverty Law Center's MEC in support of the Black Farmers Reparations, and also signed on to multiple letters for the Indian Farmers Movements for Justice, and again, Stop Lines 3 and 5 advocacy. And there's so much more work to do. And I'm so thrilled to be in an organization that prioritizes that work and seeks to continue and center that work. Our values statement, we've codified that this year, and as well as our theory of change, which are both going to be, which are on our website. And it builds on our mission, which is to engage women in building an ecological and just food and agricultural system through individual and community power. To our vision of a vibrant and community-centered food and agricultural system in which women are strong leaders. And our values, which include ecological relationships with the land, interconnectedness, storytelling, ecofeminism, and justice. And those all are informing our strategic planning, which is a current process that we're undergoing right now. As we lead up to FY22, our strategic plan is going to be for 3 years, and we'll start off in FY22, which will also be our 25th year celebration. I thought it was kind of fitting yesterday or the day before yesterday when I was watching the documentary. No, it was yesterday's documentary that spoke to how Denise O'Brien and Kathy Lawrence, approached the UN in 1994 with and had the beginnings of the idea of WFAN, and then incorporated and solidified WFAN in 1997 as a 501c3. There have been some amazing women, some of them who are in this audience today, including Denise O'Brien, but also Betty Wells and many others that have moved us forward over the past quarter of a century. And I am humbled and thrilled to be able to meet, know, and work with them alongside them. We are currently, we have strong leadership under Maritza Pierre and Solis Christie, also here, Anna Krusik, who served as the interim ED prior to my hiring, and the entire WFAN board. It's just, I am so, I keep using the word humbled and lucky, but that's what comes up to have the ability to work with such an incredible board, incredible staff, and leadership that is just, it's humbling to know how wonderful and brilliant and dedicated all these women are. So we have emerging ideas coming up for the strategic plan, including diverse and increased funding to expand and enhance programs and partnerships. And that includes intentional program co-creation and resourcing with our community partners and our partners across the country. That we will assist new movements and nonprofits, hopefully, but with fiscal sponsorship by FY25, that's a goal. And to increase our operating budget by at least 50%. and to grow funding to increase staff capacity to meet member program needs. We're looking, and these are not finalized yet, this is still in motion, but this is kind of what has come up through the discussions that we've recently had. We're looking to increase power building through collective action. That includes expanding and enhancing play to politics by building local, regional, and national leadership, and advocacy at local, regional, and national levels on member-aligned initiatives. That we're looking to have to be thought and action leaders as women and non-binary folks in regenerative ag, including land transition and access education and advocacy. And what we mean by that is increasing BIPOC access to land, as well as some of what Hannah talked to, looking at the commons and collective ownership and stewardship of land, and really doing deep dives into that and being advocates for that sort of those transitions and changes into how we perceive land access and land ownership and stewardship. We're going to continue our conservation, education, and advocacy. Of course, we're going to continue to have our annual conference and build and expand on what that looks like. Our mentorship programming, we hope to bring not just to multiple states, but also really start this year with urban ag focus. And then also really want to grow in our understanding and advocacy for agroecology movement. And finally, we want to attract, grow, and engage and retain WFAN members. As was mentioned by Amy, we have over 7,000 people on our mailing list, and that's, you know, it's actually closer to 10,000 people on our mailing list. And historically, the mailing list was who we were considering members. And that shifted briefly during, right before I came on board for about a year, to a dues-based idea of membership, that if you give this much money, then you're considered a member. And after discussing with staff and the board and members, what feels best, we're kind of landing on this Goldilocks solution, what I'm calling the Goldilocks solution, because it's one of the blessings, the few blessings that were embedded in the COVID-19 pandemic, was the opportunity to reflect on that membership model. Like what does it really mean to be a member of WFAN? So after careful consideration, we're seeking to return to our roots and expand our community of supporters based on intentional, energetic support of WFAN's mission, values, and vision in all forms. And what I mean by that is by time, talent, or treasure. Because while financial resources are absolutely essential to run our programs and operations, we're moving towards a donation-based membership. In other words, please give at a level that feels significant for you, and know that we accept your gifts with gratitude and a commitment to be responsible with the stewardship of those gifts. So to be a member now, 2 check boxes. 1, are you aligned with our mission, vision, and values? And 2, are you committed to a significant, for you, contribution of either time, talent, or treasure? So while we know that some people's resources right now are really constrained, especially coming out of the pandemic, treasure or financial donation might not be what you can afford right now. But if you could commit to 2 hours of your time and talent, whatever that looks like, participating in a learning circle or leading a learning circle, or perhaps volunteering to serve on our social media or to serve on our board, it would be as well as accepted, and we would love to have that intentional joining of our membership. And so we are fixing the bugs currently in our technology. Some of you have pointed out that we have some bugs in the technology about membership. If we are fixing that to really be able to accept that commitment of time, talent, or treasure. Some of you that work with USDA and on loans and USDA grants know that oftentimes we're asked for a match to be able to accept that grant. And one of the match ways that we can accept is from in-kind donations. So if you are a volunteer and you provide a commitment of time and talent, we can use that as a match for those grant funds, which is really very helpful. So I appreciate that consideration. And what I'm aiming for is 5,000 intentional members by 2025. So of that mailing list of 10,000 plus, we hope to have 5,000 intentional members, people that commit to, yes, I am 100% behind the mission, values, and vision of WFAN, and I am committing my time, talent, or treasure to be able to stay within that membership. So speaking of time and talent, 6 years ago today was Ren Almitra's first day with WFAN as an employee and at the conference. And I just wanted to acknowledge that it's with great sadness that she'll be leaving WFAN early next year. But I really wanted to speak to how amazing Ren is, and she's instrumental in the evolution and co-creation of both Women Caring for the Land, in particular our Stewardship Ambassadors program, as well as harvesting our potentials, successful mentorships. Over the past 8 months of my tenure as executive director, Ren has served as the lead in applying for over $650,000 in grant applications, identifying new opportunities, and securing and managing hundreds of thousands of dollars in new and renewal grant funds. She has built and maintained key partnership relationships with consultants, contractors, funders, mentors, and mentees, many of whom are in this room right now. She's provided close programmatic oversight, including evaluations, as well as qualitative and quantitative reporting. And most importantly, Ren embodies and models WFAN's values in all that she does, and she will be so sorely missed. I want to make sure that, I can't express how I sent her a picture. I was La Llorona for Halloween, and I sent her a picture. I'm like, this is how I feel knowing that you're leaving. But I'm hopeful that Ren will stay connected to WFAN, ideally as a member of our board of directors, as a consultant or a contractor in the future. And I sincerely wish her wellness, peace, and happiness in her next pursuits. And I am confident that success will follow her wherever she goes. And she has graciously offered and agreed to help inform the selection of her successor to the highest and best benefit of WFAN. So along those lines, after this conference, please look for on our site and in your emails an opportunity to apply to join WFAN staff. And also in the WHUVA, I don't know if all of you have seen it, but there are other job opportunities as well. So this is such an amazing base to draw from. And while we could never replace Ren, we can hope that we can find somebody that can serve as a successor in a different and changed up role that Ren helps inform. So thank you, huge thank you to Ren. And I just wanted to end with a quote on resilience from two brilliant women that I absolutely admire. First is Maya Angelou, who said, "I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it." And from Angela Duckworth, who noted that enthusiasm is common, but endurance is rare. So it's my wish for all of us that we take time this week to catch up with who we truly are, refuse to be reduced by our challenges, and enthusiastically and powerfully moved forward together to insist upon and bring forth the big transformations that we know need to happen soon. Thank you all. I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Jules. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Ren. Have a great lunch break or tea break, whatever time it is where you're at, folks. And we have an amazing lineup for the rest of the day today, and it continues tomorrow. So we're excited to see everyone. Take care.
Thank you.